have just had a hiccup. Yeah, we had a hiccup. Okay. All right. I think we're good. Everybody, you guys know what's up.
You know what time it is.
2 weeks to one. Can I say that it's not even Tool Time? No one. I hated that show.
I love that show. Home Improvement.
Home Improvement was shit.
That was a great show.
Home Improvement was shit. Anyways, welcome to Diablo 3 from a casual point of view, episode number 25. We took last week off mostly because just there was really not much to talk about, and BlizzCon was coming out. But now that BlizzCon's coming out and they talked about everything, we know what's going on.
We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. So the first thing we're going to hop into, well, let me just break it down to you. This is the first time you watch the show. Every week or every 2 weeks or bi-weekly, me and Nate Dogg talk about what's going on in the world of Diablo.
Let's say it this way. Whenever there's something important to say.
We'll talk about Diablo. He's a casual player, I'm the hardcore player. He plays about anywhere between 10 to maximum 15 hours per week. I play about 45 or more. I can get a life. And the reason why we have both our different perspectives and stuff, so we can kind of cover all the player base, basically who plays the game and stuff like that, and just talk about what's going on, and not think of in terms of just, oh, we hate Blizzard, or we like this, or we love this, but to actually look at things objectively and be fair to the company and what's going on, just specifically on the Diablo.
We love Blizzard as a company, but that doesn't mean they can do no wrong.
Right.
Actually, I don't think there is a company out there that I think can do no wrong, especially after Squaresoft has been screwing up Final Fantasies lately.
I don't know about, well, I feel like it's never the developer's fault, but you always got the money man. And the money man's always there who's in charge to make the company money, so they might have them kind of change or sway things to either make the game more casual to get more customers or whatever. So, like I said, I don't really blame the developers to a certain extent, but I really think there's the money man that dictates what's going on. But anyways, last week BlizzCon, Friday, they had all the different panels. They only had an hour for Diablo one day and some Q&A. I think it was like an hour including Q&A, which is kind of scary.
Oh, wow. Isn't Q&A like half hour?
Yeah, and then Saturday was like another hour in Q&A. And then they just basically talk about what step in the direction the game is going in the future. They answer some basic typical questions, what they're going to be doing for the next patch, which is 2.1.2. They're going to put a PTR up for that. And they also could not confirm nor deny that there was an expansion. They actually had to be real quiet about that. So I think they are working on an expansion.
Of course they're working on expansion. If you know the storyline, there's an expansion.
So I think they really can't talk about it.
Well, all that means it's going to be a while.
Yeah, I think so.
So they're not going to announce it till halfway through next year.
I'm pretty sure that it won't be until next year or something.
No,
like
halfway
that.
through next year.
Yeah,
because it's not going to. Because BlizzCon's in late November, whatever, early
and
November.
stuff like that. They released the new Warlords of Draenor. I'm glad I didn't buy it.
What, the WoW?
Yeah, the only reason I say that, not to sound like I don't like hate WoW. I could probably buy the game and enjoy it. I know if you got the game paid for you free, if you played it, I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if I was really into WoW and I bought the game, now, you know how long WoW's been out. Mm-hmm. And you know how much money Blizzard has. And you know how much they've been promoting the hell it is. To this now, people still can't even log in. Like, could you imagine?
They're having login problems?
Yeah, like they have people that will be there and be in queues for one guy said, "Dude, I'm in the queue for 4,000," and then I came 2 hours later, now I'm down to 2,500 and stuff like that. And then you could see on the streams
how
everybody's lagging and it's pretty ludicrous. And I just laugh and I was just like, I'm so glad I didn't buy this, or I didn't actually take donations to play it.
So let me ask you, since you know a little more about this. I read somewhere online that Miss of Pandora was let down. Is that true?
Yeah.
Were people upset by Miss of Pandora? How could that be terrible? The panda was the coolest character in Warcraft 3.
They enjoyed the panda. They enjoyed everything. But the big thing is that, let me put it to you in perspective. September 2013 was when they released the last patch. Mm-hmm. So it was in September, 2013. So by, let's say, give them till November, everybody's completed the content, right? Mm-hmm. Now think about this. There was no new patches or anything, no dungeons or nothing like that since, let's say it takes a month to clear the main guild. So think about September, October, November, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November.
We're in November.
14 months without any type of content. If you're playing Warcraft 3 and you didn't see 14 months of content, how would that make you feel?
Oh, God. Is that why people were pissed?
A lot of people were pissed about
Well, so
that.
then it's not Miss a Pandora. It's just them not coming up with new content.
And then one of the developers said, we will never make you guys wait that long, because they did this before between, I think, the time between Cataclysm, or between the time of Cataclysm to Miss. They said they wouldn't do that again. They did it again. So that's what it's looking like. That's why a lot of people were disappointed, because there was no content. I don't know if anybody in the chat knows, but there really just wasn't any content. That's what pissed a lot of people off. And if you're into WoW, that would actually make me very upset as well too. If I really
especially if you're the one that's waiting for the expansion, so something can happen.
And then they said, well, they don't have a lot of money to invest in all these developments and stuff like that and do all these different things. But I said, yes. But then, what's the name of the guys who do the motorcycle, the two brothers?
That do the motorcycles?
Yeah, that make all those West Coast choppers or something like that.
I don't watch
OC choppers, I think. I think it's OC choppers or whatever. Yeah. Well, they had them on the show. They did like a 8-part episode where they had them build like real life models of like motorcycles that would be put into World of Warcraft. And they had 2 different teams, like one for the Horde, one for Alliance, and they had people vote on it. And I just wanted to be honest, it's like, people don't care about stuff like that. I mean, I guess it appeals to a mass majority of people that might, watch them. But I kind of feel like that's one of those things where the older guys at Blizzard, they think that's cool shit. And they say, well, let's just do it, because that sounds cool. And yeah, it got good thumbs up, because people like watching the show. But I'm like, you could have took all that money and invested it and did like a dungeon or a patch or something. Anything. And then you could have tacked on like a little pet you could buy with the little patch and make extra money off that, because they have the pet shop and they have the item shops where you can boost your character to level 90 and other shit like that. And but just in general, I look at that and I'm like, they had the money to. And I don't understand why they couldn't have done something in terms of an actual...
That is interesting.
It's just really weird, man.
Okay, well...
I don't get it. I don't understand. I can't. I don't understand it. It is what it is, and I mean that's just how it's gonna be sometimes, and that's just what's going on in the world of WoW. So I mean they've been a little bit disappointed, but then again you gotta blame some of the the people that actually buy these games and stuff like that, because technically you can't blame all Blizzard. If you keep buying the same shit, they're going to keep selling you shit and they're not going to change anything. So the best thing you could do is just to Path of Exile and stuff like that. Oh yeah, it's still about Diablo, but we discuss everything just in general where the company's heading and maybe trying to understand what they're putting their thoughts towards why Diablo didn't get so much time. So they had a lot of stuff they had explained about World of Warcraft to keep everybody up, because like I said, the point I'm getting to is maybe the reason why Diablo didn't get so much face time is because they had to they had to accommodate the World of Warcraft players because they're a subscription-based game and they need to make money off that, right? And then they have to accommodate the people who are playing Hearthstone. Hearthstone was really big, and had the whole section of Hearthstone.
I cannot believe Hearthstone is so big.
It's big because it's on iPad, and it's going to come to iPhone, and it's so much...
I get it. I mean, I get it, but it's like... It's a card game, and it's not that fun of one either.
So you got World of Warcraft, you got Hearthstone. Those are big money things. And then you got Heroes of the Storm, because that's going to be their future MOBA thing where they charge people. And they're already charging people for characters in the alpha. And then after the alpha, they wipe the alpha accounts or whatever. What they do is they return the money back to your Blizzard account, which means you can't get the money back, which means you can only spend on their Blizzard products. So when the next phase comes up.
Yeah, but if you like the game, you're just going to buy the characters back anyway. Which, to be honest, if you're one of those people that is doing it, it'd probably be better to do it now. Buy this character. Wow, he really sucks. Then when you clear the alpha, you don't buy that character. So, not such a bad idea if you're one of those people.
They have Heroes of the Storm. You don't have the last hit. You don't have to... There's not one person that's going to get super powerful. When you kill stuff, everybody gets experience.
See, I think that's the way it should be.
Well, see, I agree from your point of view, but then they don't have things like... They're going to try to balance all the heroes. They're not going to allow for bans and stuff like that. Like in League of Legends, each team would have 3 bans and you ban 3 characters and then you guys can pick out of the rest remainder of the champion pool.
Mm-mm.
They're not going to have that. Because, like, in a game that's imbalanced, it's hard to balance 40 characters.
Yeah.
So at least if
Well,
you had...
that's why all the Marvel Capcom games are all messed up.
Yeah. So if you had bans and shit like that, at least you could say, okay, this person's overpowered. We, as a team, you talk, okay, let's ban this character, let's ban Arthas and this, and then the other team bans their characters, and you all pick characters. They're not going to have that. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. The funny thing is, the guy who won the tournament for that game, he said, thanks, Blizzard, for making an awesome game. Like, he fucked up. Like, he said it.
Oh, he said awful instead of awesome.
It was, like, on TV. And
I bet that was a dare. That was an awesome game.
Oh, my gosh. That's pretty kind of crazy. No, I'm not torrenting now. It looks like everything's okay. I think I just had a hiccup early on when I was moving around stuff. So... Like I said, we're setting this up for Diablo, so just bear with us. So we got World of Warcraft, which makes some money through subscriptions. You got Heroes of the Storm, which is going to make their money through skins and mounts, and people are already spending money on that shit. You know, people can't control themselves. And you also have Hearthstone, right? So those three games are the biggest money makers. Now they announced a new game called Overwatch.
A new game, okay.
It's not really a new game. You know what Overwatch is? Now, remember that was making another game called Titan. It was supposed to beat out World of Warcraft. They're developing Titan. I don't know if you know this, but they got rid of developing for Titan because they said, developing a new
Was
IP.
Titan the one where you got into the machine?
No, well, that's Titanfall, but they codenamed their new expansion called Titan. So Titan...
I don't remember.
Basically, they were developing this game called Titan. It was supposed to be a first-person shooter MMORPG. It got scrapped, and then they revealed this game called Overwatch, and it's a first-person game. And I said, there's no way in hell Diablo or Blizzard was doing Titan and then a first-person shooter. I think what happened is they realized that this first-person multiple MMORPG is not going to work. So but they might have said, "Oh, the PvP's fun." So what they basically did is Overwatch is basically, I hate to say it's Team Fortress. So you know how you had the soldier with the thing? They had the soldier version for Overwatch. You know how you have the engineer for Team Fortress? You had the engineer for Overwatch. You know, you had that like light little scout guy with a little hat running around. They had the other guy, he has like fancy, beautiful hair, like the anime character hair. And he's like real skinny and slender, shooting shots and doing flips. That's your scout class. Okay. So basically, Overwatch is the same as Team Fortress. They just did it their own way. Because Team Fortress, as you remember, Team Fortress is free now. And the way they make their money is from people buying little chests that are used to like make like cool item hats, and it gives you slight advantages in the game and shit. So it's going to be a free-to-play game, another one. And it's going to have microtransactions, and it's going to be a play just like Team Fortress. 6 versus 6 on teams. They said that they're trying to casualize already and trying to make it like you don't need to kill people to be a part of your team. They want to be like, oh, it's not about killing, it's not about this and this. I'm like, well, kind of in an FPS you are. And the thing I said, some games you can't casualize. You can't casualize an FPS because unless you have auto-aim, there's some people who are just going to give you the business.
I don't think you can casual team games, period.
No.
If the goal is for you and 5 other people, whether it be friends or randoms, to kill those 5 other people, how could you casual it?
Well, what happens when you try to make it now focused about killing, like in Heroes of the Storm, the big thing in League of Legends, you could be on one lane farming yourself, and that's helping yourself, and you can get real powerful and come back later on in the game. You could also push the lane. You could be a jungler. You go in the jungle. You could be a mid laner. There's different positions and different people can carry. In Heroes of the Storm, since all the experience is shared and all the killing the creeps is shared, everybody you have one person on the lane get the experience just by killing monsters, and the other 4 people just roam around in a giant death ball. That's all you do for the whole game, pretty much. So
you basically have one person pushing a lane, and the other 4 are
to get experience, because experience shared through everybody.
See, now, personally, what I would do would be your lane experience. So someone is killed on that lane. So you'd have lane, jungle, lane, jungle, lane. So if you're on that lane and someone kills something, you should get the experience. Having everybody share the experience, you get the death, mob. Okay, that's just my first thought, but whatever.
So
anyway.
the whole point we're building up to Diablo is this. They have Overwatch. They have Heroes of the Storm. They have Overwatch, Heroes of the Storm. They also have Hearthstone.
WoW.
And they also have WoW. 3 of these games are free to play. And one of them is subscription based. We were talking about this a couple years back, how we were talking about how, like, when Blizzard gets into free-to-play model, when they realize how much money they are, that everybody's going to be jumping into the free-to-play model.
Yeah.
And that's why it's taking away from games like StarCraft and taking away from Diablo 3 because they don't have any microtransactions. They have no other way to make them their money and stuff like that.
Well, they did, but they got rid of it.
Yeah, they did.
They had real money auction house. I don't understand it.
So, I think Diablo is still going to get some stuff for it, but it's not. I don't think StarCraft and Warcraft. I mean, Hearthstone, I think, had a bigger prize pool than StarCraft. And StarCraft, it gets the viewers when there's a tournament and stuff like that because everybody wants to watch the Koreans play because it's amazing.
Right.
But, like, in reality, when the tournaments are not on, no one's actually playing the game because the game's so inaccessible and it's so hard. And then, not to mention, there's nobody representing. If we had people representing North America and Europe, I think more people would watch StarCraft, but people don't.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. Just in general, I think, like, I think Diablo and StarCraft's in the rude awakening. They're going to promote StarCraft because StarCraft, I think, is going to be a last game for a while that's going to be basically people coming in and just making a game and only making money off the game sales. Every single company wants to make a game with game sales and that can keep making money after that. And that's just how they want to be. I understand that shit, but that's where we're going. So I think Diablo's going to get one more expansion, then it's done. StarCraft, as we know, it's not going to get any more expansions after Legacy Void. It's done. It's a wrap.
Oh, they said that?
Well, I'm 100% sure. Because they're going to just not going to do anything anymore.
Well, until they do StarCraft 3.
Yeah, which would be a long time away.
Yeah, how much was it from 1 to 2?
Yeah, it was a long time. So, the problem is why I think Diablo didn't get a lot of light, and as we finally start getting into Diablo stuff now, is that, I hate to say it, man, it's just, they're just not focused on it no more. It's just, it doesn't make the money. They have their small little panels and stuff like that, you know, but I really just, I don't see a good future for Diablo.
That's unfortunate.
I don't want to say that it's the developer's fault. I really think it's the money man fault. Unless they figure out a way to put microtransactions into the game for Diablo, I don't think it's going to happen. Like, they need to put microtransactions, and they need to do something like how Path of Exile does. Like, Path of Exile is a free-to-play game. I'm playing that game. The community's great. Everybody's nice. Everybody's playing. Everybody's trying to help you. Now, it's not casual, okay? But the thing I'll say about it is this. If you're new to the game, your friends can just tell you what to do. They can trade you gear and help you out in the earlier levels. They can also, they have a forum where people are actually very helpful and they want to actually help you out, want to play. They have multiple classes. They have multiple leagues. Like, they have a league like, okay, this is going to be a 5-hour league. Whoever can race the fastest. They have different things like that. They have a hardcore league where if your character dies, it gets put into the standard league, so you don't lose that character forever. The way I best describe it is it's the true evolution of Diablo 2.
Okay.
And it's pretty solid. And the reason why I can't get too much on it, it's a free-to-play game, and anything that you purchase in the game is for purely how you look. The only thing you spend money on is stash size. If you want extra slots in your stash, you pay for that. And then basically how your character's dressed and stuff like that. All the cool aesthetic stuff, all the cash item shop is purely for that. It doesn't affect the game whatsoever. And they're actually very successful. So when you look at a game model like this, where it's like, well, it's free to play, and the items you buy don't affect the game. This is like a game right up your alley, except for the inaccess. It has a steep learning curve. If they could tone that down a little bit and actually have the backing to have like a better graphical engine and stuff like that, I think that's where I think Diablo needs to head. They need to think about maybe going free to play, and then simply having a lot of little microtransaction stuff. Because if they actually went free to play, let's think about it, and just charge for expansions in the future. Like, for the base game, like, maybe just not that much. If they went free to play, I think it would change a lot and bring a lot of new players in. And then just have microtransactions.
I don't know if I would like Diablo to go free to play, just because it's, I don't know, I'd feel cheated. Even though the game's been out for how many years, I bought it. I bought the special edition when it came out. It was this big hype, and now all of a sudden it's a free to play. Now, if you were to do like a EverQuest 2 type of free-to-play where you could do free-to-play, you can only play
but if
so
you
many
want to
levels.
open up everything...
Yeah, then you pay $10.
Yeah.
That's fine if they want to do it that way, but personally, I don't like the idea of the once mighty game, you know, turning out to be a free-to-play game. It kind of makes the game seem less influential in terms of You know what I mean?
I can understand that. So what you're saying is maybe they need to do a halfway thing. Like, you get the game free up to this point, you can do a lot of stuff, but if you really want to do this or do this, you need to buy the full version so people can still play.
I mean, maybe if you wanted to do the first part of the game, not the expansion, and then you can't use any of the special helpers. You can't use the gem guy, you can't use the girl, you can't use Griswold, the blacksmith.
I can kind of see that.
Yeah, okay, if you went that way, okay, you still get to play the game. You're obviously not going to...
Because in the future of Diablo 3, I think it should just be free to play. Just make it free to play. Let's say they're making... Let's say that... or they can make it like Guild Wars, where it's like, once you buy the game, everything else after that is free. Or, like you said, you can play the game free to play. But I like to see it kind of move in that direction, because it would bring in a lot more players. And then you have microtransactions and cool stuff, and then people would spend their money, and then they'd be like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, it might be like, hey, to expand this stash tab, you need to get 2 extra stash tabs. It's like $20, one-time purchase, something like that.
Yeah,
Anything.
I don't like that, but I can understand that concept.
You know.
So, anyway.
So, I mean, that's just what's going on with that. But the big thing is... just Path of Exile is just doing a lot of good things right, and they do need to. But there's some things Path of Exile can learn from Diablo, like the steep learning curve and the crazy ass skill tree. They need to really reduce that. If they could do that and make it a little bit more accessible.
Are they in beta or is this
no,
their
it's
product?
full-fledged game, man.
Okay.
And it's a small development team, a small company. They're just doing their thing. They're making good money and profits, and they release like a patch. I heard like every week or 2 weeks, just a little extra thing, like they don't. Like, if they see something's overpowered, they're, like, tweaking it all the time, so you got constant patches coming out, so it's always something different, which is also something Blizzard, instead of waiting on months and letting stuff go through months on Blizzard's end and stuff like that. Let me see here. Alright, so pylons and greater rifts.
I know that you were talking about how you said that you like the pylons in the Greater Rift, and that you don't want them to get removed just because some people are exploiting them. So what they're going to do is, they said they're going to make a guaranteed 2 to 3 pylons per rift. So you always will have a pylon inside of a rift.
Okay.
And what they said is they're going to buff up the items.
Buff them up. So, like,
The speed buff one, it's not like just speed. It's like speed, but when you're running by the monsters get knocked up in the air and they're all going crazy. So if you
kind of like the trample for, what's it called? The Crusader.
So like that.
Okay.
And then, like, you know, certain things like...
So they're going to make them more useful. Because honestly, when you see the speed one, you're like...
So basically,
when you see the
conduit, you're happy.
Right, but when you see, what's the other one? The channeling pylon, you're like...
So they're going to buff all the other additional pylons and guarantee you 2 to 3 pylons, they said, roughly. Don't quote me on this because things could change because PTR is coming out for this. They say they're also going to try to get a PTR out this month. So how does that make you feel? I feel like it's still going to be the same problem because people are always going to take it. You can't beat out a conduit pylon or a power pylon.
Personally, it doesn't really... I mean, I like that they're keeping it. I think an easy fix would be, what's the level that people are doing this at? 40? Okay, once you hit 39, no more pylons. How easy is that? Let me keep them. Because I'm only at level 21. Yeah, those pylons will help. That's, you know, like... Or do it for just seasons. Let the non-seasons have their pylons. So, I don't know. That was basically them putting a Band-Aid over a broken bone.
Yeah, I can still see the same problems. And what they just said, the reason why we like all these randomness inside the game, because the randomness of the game it increases playability. To a certain extent it does, because you got to keep running the rifts until you get a good rift, and then you can rank up.
Mm-hmm.
But my biggest problem is that with the introduction of ancient items, which are going to be in the future, you really don't need randomness in a dungeon. The randomness should come from the gear seeking. The gear should be random. That's fine. You keep playing for the gear, not for the dungeon to be random, I would say. Because the reason with the ancient items are the same legendaries that we have already, but what the difference is that they have up to 30% on a higher stats than the non-ancient counterparts. So let's say you get
Oh, so you could have an ancient version of this one, and it's
so
just
for
better.
instance, like an ancient version of the Scourge, right? You see, you got 3,800. The ancient version might be 4,200. The 1,093 strength might be the maximum for it is like what 1,125. It'll be 1,600 for the strength.
So basically, ancients are rare rares.
So exactly. So now,
you're gonna now you see how you got your whole set. You'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, I got the first initial stuff. This is pretty cool. Now you got to find the ancient version of it. So think about it. The ancient version of an item has a 5% chance, 10% chance to be an ancient item. So think about it. If you're looking for a weapon that has, let's say that you find a shield, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this shield, out of all the legendaries that can drop, a legendary drops when it has a percent chance to be a shield. Say it's like 1 out of every like 5 times. So every time you are supposed to get a legendary, 1 out of 5 times is going to be a shield. And then when that roll clicks for that shield, then you got to think, okay, when it does roll the shield, I have a certain percent chance of getting the Pacific shield that I want. So, and then after all that, then
you got a 5% chance
chance
of
for it
that
to be an
being
ancient item. And then the items can roll crazy.
Yeah, and that's if you get a shitty ancient too.
So, that's the problem. I'll say this. That's actually very ingenious. Because you're
It
always
encourages
looking...
grinding.
You're always looking for the better stuff. And a regular person like yourself might find an ancient item and be like, this is glorious! I have this ancient item! And that's cool. So the ancient item system, I think... Pacific, I know, I say Pacific horribly. This is what it is. Deal with it!
Diablo, Blizzard should make a shield called the Pacific Shield.
The Pacific Shield. The big thing is, I like the ancient item because I think that's the kind of stuff we need in the game. Because items are always a part of the game. Mm-hmm. To get these ancient items and have them be cool different colors, that's fantastic. But like I said, I think the gear should be RNG? I don't think the dungeon should be so much.
The only thing I disagree with that is it is so boring playing the exact same thing over and over.
Right.
That's my only disagreement.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you on everything, but it's not necessarily that I'm disagreeing with you that the dungeon shouldn't be the same.
Tell me how you feel. I understand.
No, I'm saying like the only thing I don't like about that statement is I can't stand playing the same thing over and over.
So you want a little bit of variety mixed up in terms of...
Just the maps. I don't care.
Well, they already said they're implementing like 3 or 4 new different maps.
Okay, that's fine. I'm saying like if you want to say I got this map, it's the exact same mobs, blah blah blah. That's fine with me. I just don't want to play the same 5 maps.
No, they already talked about that. They already said that they have a bunch of new maps coming in and a bunch of new stuff.
Okay.
And stuff like that. So do you think you could do, as long as the scenery was different and then maybe they had like a rare map where every once in a while it's like just a really cool ass map, that's something to keep you entertained, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
How do you feel about the ancient items? How do you think that's going to affect you from a casual point of view? Not like from the casual standpoint, it's not going to matter, or it's just lucky, or what?
To me, it seems like a cop-out. It seems like a way to make the game longer. Because now, not only do I have to find... Okay, so this is generally how it starts. You get your white items. Then you get strong... Holy shit, I got a blue, and look how much better it is. And then, do you remember playing Diablo and finding a gold and you lost your shit? Holy crap! And then you started getting oranges, and then you started getting greens. Now I gotta find ancient shit now. So, at first thought, it kind of makes it feel like a cop-out. Like, man, now I gotta find this again in ancient to keep up with all the other players. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily like it. It really feels like they're trying to make Diablo stay alive longer by adding a 5% chance to give you an extra 100 strength. I understand the reasoning behind it. I don't necessarily like it, but it'll keep you playing. It'll keep me playing. So, good job.
I like it. I think overall that's the kind of step in the directions they need to kind of go. Like, I'm a big believer that the dungeon shouldn't be so much RNG, other than just the randomizing and making the different areas look different and having random mobs. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But I just don't like how it's become so bad that like people just keep using the pylons and shit like that just to get it I just don't like it. But that's just my personal preference. But I mean, at the end of the day, at least they are making all the other pylons decent. At least they are making it more stable, saying that, well, we're going to always give you 2 to 3 pylons. Okay, well, that's better than none.
Yeah.
And they
That's
have the
very
ancient items, and the ancient items will keep up the grind where you can keep looking for stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. So they got the new ancient item in. They're going to have that in the PTR, so I'm looking forward to that. They are dealing with the issues with the Greater Rift system, which is necessary. So I'm glad they're dealing with that.
What issues? Just people.
Well,
just people being
with
stupid?
like I said, dealing with the pylons,
Oh, okay.
making it more fair for everybody in that sense. They also are looking into doing more conquests and specific things for a season, like kill like all the bosses, like you have beat all the bosses in the game within 1 hour. They're going to be doing a little bit more focusing on the conquest and stuff like that. But for me, the conquest, I don't think anybody cares for too much unless you give them rewards, like a cool portrait or a cool skin. Then you could be like, oh, dude, well I want to play anyway casual. Let me just play this and let me get a cool skin for my Crusader. They need to do something like that.
Yeah.
They're fixing the mob density issues, so they're going to make it more, nice. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to give you these huge maps with huge dead ends anymore. They're going to make... I think what they're going to do is they're going to make like 50 to 60 maps or something like that, and then pre-program all the shit, so at least you don't have to deal with the bullshit of just running down in the area. Oh, and they're also going to let you to revive on death inside of a Greater Rift.
Oh, good.
Speaking of which,
I didn't like I hit a magic rift. I went from level 20 to level 22. I hit a magic rift.
You got a real good match.
Yeah,
You got the Miracle Rift with all the easy mobsters and everything.
Yeah, I walked in, it was Act 1, and it was like, man, these guys are dying, and they're just fucking everywhere. And I'm literally just, walking forward with my sword out, just knocking them out. And because you can see how many level 21s I have. Mm-hmm. I jumped from 21, I jumped from 20 to 22. No, I haven't tried it yet. I can't beat 21 without getting lucky.
Well, I think next week, like I said, we said 11 the week ago, but we're set your Crusader.
And I got one of those finally.
Oh, so you got the remodels. You can use it for your fucking furnace! If you guys want to talk about the furnace, this guy has a 3500 furnace inside of his inventory. He has never rolled this shit. Look at this. 3,589 damage, 10% attack, speed, strength, vitality, and also the base damage is ridiculous. I got a question for you guys in chat. Should we reroll the base damage? Or should we reroll, I'm thinking, vitality to cooldown reduction? You probably want cooldown reduction, right? I'm thinking cooldown reduction will probably be the best instead of vitality. What do you guys think? I think vitality should go to cooldown reduction. Is that what a Crusader wants, is cooldown reduction? It's either going to be cooldown reduction. I don't think it's going to be attack
well, it depends. It's a two-hander. Attack speed's nice. It doesn't really matter to me.
That's ridiculous. We have to do this right now.
Also,
this is crazy.
Before you do that, I found this.
Oh, that's one of the rarest amulets in the game. It makes you immune to lightning. So if you actually wear that with your Blackthorn set, you pretty much, the only thing that can really kind of mess you up is arcane. But the thing about lightning is that even if you have Blackthorns on, it doesn't really protect you from lightning and stuff like that.
The other problem is that this is a lot shittier. If you look at the other one, it's got critical hit chance, this, that.
I'm so excited that you got that. You got to run so slow.
Look at all that heavy shit he's wearing. What did you expect?
I don't care.
So you have to... Oh, you're rerolling vitality.
Oh, this is going to be wonderful. You're about to have the greatest furnace to ever come
What are we looking for?
Cooldown reduction, because you want cooldown reduction.
Oh, you do whatever you think is...
by 8%. It's not 10%, but that's okay for now. We'll just keep it there.
You do whatever you think is
And then we're going to put the socket inside that bitch. Oh, it's so strong.
I think I already have a gem for you. No, don't do that.
It's so strong.
Should already be a gem.
Oh, this makes me so happy.
Right there.
Yeah. Is this a max level gem?
Yeah.
Okay. Damn. Oh, that's.
But it's not even better.
You can't look at that. You got to look at the fact that now you have. Okay, you have 76% elite damage. Now you have 30. Like, the 76 is really good. Like, elite damage is crazy. Like, you need to really start using this, because this is pretty ridiculous. A lot of people are going to kill you because you don't use this weapon. That is ridiculous. I can't believe you got that. If you finally got a gift for it. Finally.
Dude, that was the first one ever. I was like, are you fucking kidding?
Now we just gotta get them with the right Crusader build. And then
I actually... replaced some things, and I got my damage. What's my damage right now? I actually got my damage to go to 1.4.
1.4 mil?
Yeah. But the problem was that it got rid of the reduced damage, and I would die too easily. So I'm trying to find the belt that's better than this for, I think it's...
Kill him, please. Shaking my damn head. Yeah, they saw that. They're looking at you.
I think it's Blackthorns.
Yeah, I mean, because, like I said, look at this furnace. 3,589 damage. It rolled real high. 10% damage, 1,000 plus strength, and cooldown reduction. That's ridiculous. And he doesn't even use it, right? So
I will now.
let's take a look. Some Techno Scroll has a picture of his. 3,400. Yeah, so Techno Scroll hates you. Nathan pissing everybody off with stuff sitting inside of his storage. All right, so the biggest thing is, let's just get to the point and get to kind of towards the closing here, is that they're doing stuff to improve the game. I know they're adding like different. I'm gonna make another video that just basically breaks down what's going on in Diablo and BlizzCon and shit, and just talk about it real quick later on today.
Okay.
But just for the typical casual point of view show, season 2 is coming out. They're adjusting things to hopefully make the Greater Rifts a lot better. Hopefully they're dealing with some stuff behind the scenes in terms of cheating, but I think there's always going to be exploits, and they're just going to have to deal with them. I could say that I look forward to the next season, and I look forward to the new stuff they're putting in. They're also going back to a lot of legendaries and putting actually like game-changing like affixes on the legendary.
Okay.
So for instance, like I saw one cool thing like on the Skullgrass ring. I don't know if you ever got it. It was like a Skullgrass ring, usually just a typical ring, doesn't do much. But they have stuff like improve like the damage of the spell by like 500%, and it goes for different classes and different classes of different abilities. So you might have something that says improve your less shield or whatever by 500%. Now it's like, oh, if I actually use this ring, it makes a difference. And they got a cool thing, like, you know how you like bombardment? They have a new belt. Every 6 seconds, it randomly casts bombardment on something. So you can imagine if you're
just walking around and
casting bombardment. So they're doing a lot of the stuff like that for the old legendaries. But like I always said, I think what they need to really do is just go back and focus on the old legendaries, bringing them up to snuff, and then introduce new stuff in, and slowly digest it in, and slowly switch it around. I mean, for the most part, I think in general, it's gonna help the game out a little bit. I think mostly people are gonna play Diablo. You're gonna always have people that play Diablo. We talked about that before. But I think when World of Warcraft expansion dies down a little bit, some people might come back and play a little bit of Diablo. When people get a little turn, I'm done playing Hearthstone today. What do I want to play? Oh, I can play Diablo. I think Diablo's just gonna be that game. It's gonna be that game that people come to play. That is pretty straightforward, casual, attainable, and but still has the highest levels if you want to go after it, which I think it's okay. I'm just happy they admitted to a lot of the things in between the Greater Rifts and the pylons and how monster density is. They have admitted that there are problems and how they have to fix them and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm overall happy in the direction of what Diablo 3 is going into and what they're doing. They still, I think, can do a lot more. But I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about all the changes and stuff like that, man? How does it make you feel? Because like I said, you play casually. You play a couple hours a week. Do you think you're going to just put down Diablo for a while? Do you think that you're still going to play a little bit every week? Or how does that make you feel?
Well, every time that something new happens, you generally get excited because it's something new. Any updates are good. So even though, I may not like something, it's still good. It's still growth. It still gives you a reason to keep playing. Interest just goes down over time. There's usually nothing you can do to bring back your fan base without, creating something new from scratch.
One thing I will say is this. I forgot to bring it up. The one new thing they're also interesting, and like I said, they are going to introduce some new monsters and different types like that, which is okay. The big thing is they changed goblins.
Oh, yeah?
They made one goblin now, when it's a green goblin, you kill the goblin, he always drops you a set plan.
Okay.
They have one goblin, when you kill him, he's blood. When you kill this goblin, he drops blood shards.
Okay.
And then they have another one where it's when you capture him and you kill him, he drops a shit ton of gems.
Okay,
and
I like that.
The other ones. So that's one cool thing they did mention. They made it a big focus. I wouldn't like for them to make a big focus about the goblins because you're just like, really? But
I find that kind of interesting because remember the goblins used to be something cool. And then they got nerfed and then basically...
And back in the day in D2 they had the shrines that had the gems and different things like that.
Yeah, and now you just see a goblin, you're like, Literally, because they'll drop a yellow, 2 blues. Like, I can get that from any normal mob. But a mob, you have a chance of dropping a legendary. So I think that was a good idea. I like the variety of this goblin drops gems, this goblin drops sets, this goblin, I mean, they were on the right road. I think
they're just adding more stuff like that. And I guess if you look at it over like a 10-year period of this game, if they keep adding stuff like this on a regular basis, it's going to end up being a game full of a lot of stuff. It's going to be like, remember how Diablo 2, to be fair, it took a couple years for them to get it to the point where it was actually like really just fun to play at any time too.
Very true.
Speaking of Diablo 2, they just reset the Diablo 2 ladder. Diablo 2 is still going on. It's still going on, man. A lot of people still play apparently. Because a lot of people just prefer that type of play. They prefer Diablo 2.
Yeah,
and
well, Diablo 2 has a lot going for it.
I think so. It's accessible, but not too hard and crazy, I think. And it has the right amount of balance. Yeah, I don't really know how much somebody asked. Does anybody know how many people play Diablo on a time of average? I figure, like, on Twitch TV, it really doesn't go higher than 3,000. And that's really if, like, a lot of Diablo 3 streamers are together. A lot of people are not streaming Diablo anymore. I know I stream Diablo just a little bit. I've been playing Path of Exile. I at least try to stay in the same world. I'm not going to play World of Warcraft or nothing else like that. But, I mean, I've been really enjoying Path of Exile. And their community is just... I think they're just kind of giving me state. They're like, you should stay. And I'm like, I'm not staying. You say that now, you'll stay.
I don't know. You've got that power of making people love you. Remember when you were playing the original Ragnarok? People are like, no, you need to come back. You can use the hammer as much as you want.
Yeah.
you know, it's just...
yeah.
It's just the quality that you bring in.
I think when Season 2 comes out, it might jump up to about 10,000, maybe 15. But then after like a month, it's going to drop down to like 8. It's just when they release new seasons, it will go up, and then it will die back down. Just like with Path of Exile right now, when they're currently at a low point, so not many people are playing the game. Mm-hmm. So I think Diablo is just going to be that 1,500 to 3,000 people average game. I don't think it's ever going to get to the 5K mark. Or 6K
I just
mark.
think it's past its prime now. That's that's my opinion.
Unless they release a big expansion or do some really big new patch.
They'd have to.
So I mean, I think that's pretty much about it. I'm going to be making another video that talks more in detail about the BlizzCon stuff. It'll just be a quick 5-minute video going over what you need to know. Basically, too long, didn't read through all the stuff about BlizzCon, so make sure you guys check that out. Before we go, let's take a look at some of the items that Nate Dogg has got. Anything new that you found? I know you're pretty happy because you hit it to floor 22, and I'm glad you got the gift because now you have a crazy-ass furnace. You need to use that furnace. And I guarantee you, by this next week, we're going to do a show. When we do the show next week, it's going to be about you actually making your Crusader actual decent build and stuff like that, and based upon what items that you have. All this stuff is shit. Okay, good to know.
Oh, no.
What about the boots?
I gotta check it. No, those boots I've seen.
Yeah, okay, cool.
No, you still gotta buy the stuff from Kildala.
Oh, yeah, with the blood charge. It's not fun buying stuff from her no more.
Yeah, that's the other thing. When you reduce the number, right? I don't care. Pick anything.
You got a pig sticker.
Yay! Yeah, so just leave them. I'll check them out later.
For your blessed shield build where you can just spam it all day.
No, don't delete the good ones.
I'm just right there.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
When they reduced Kildala, it made it not as fun because you don't like come on. It's like click.
Even though they buffed the race, but it's like.
But I buff the rate and leave it that many number of clicks. It seems less
visually
good.
Wise, right?
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, that would definitely.
Like you literally just go. Oh, okay. I got a pick sticker out of it. Yay.
All those items you're hoarding.
Yeah.
What's this one right here? The fancy one.
Increase the size of your blessed hammers.
I guess, right? I haven't seen that one ever. You always get those obscure things.
Yeah.
And you just keep inside your stash and stuff.
Well,
fair enough. Well,
I found this one too.
Appreciate you guys watching the stream. We'll be back next week. We'll actually pimp out Nate Dogg's because he got a lot of good gear for his Crusader. He just doesn't have it using. We're gonna look up a build and then see if we can get him doing greater rips 30 to 35. That would be pretty cool, at least. And outside of that, we always appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to be doing a lot of new Path of Exile stuff, so make sure you guys check that out. I'll still be doing a little bit of Diablo here and there. I'll be getting more back into Diablo once the PTR patch comes out. But, Nate Dogg, you have any words of encouragement or words that you'd like to leave with the people? Hold on, before you even say this. Before you do something, like, just think about what I want to give you 15 seconds to think about what you want to say. Which goes 15 seconds. To leave some good words with the people out there.
10, 15 seconds yet?
No, it's not. Okay, what do you have to say?
Brush your teeth, kids. I'm out.
I fucking hate you. I fucking hate you. I really got to stop asking that question.